I think something that I wish I would have known as a freshman is that it's going to look different for everybody. Not a single person's on the same path, and it's all gonna work out the way it should. It just sometimes instead of focusing on the big picture, you need to focus on the step in front of you. Hi, my name is Victoria Jarvis. I'm a civilian junior here at Norwich, and I study cybersecurity, and I'm from Southwestern Connecticut.
How did you hear about Norwich University?
I actually heard about it through a sports recruitment site, as well as one of my high school friends' older brothers went here for lacrosse. So I was inspired to look at it and fell in love. It just felt like home. I loved just one, how much brick there is on the campus. It's stunning. And I guess the second part is growing up in a military family. It's great to be, surrounded by that type of environment still. See a lot of discipline, you see a lot of respect. Everybody here is working extremely hard, and that you just don't see everywhere. So it's nice to be in an environment that pushes you to, do the normal, which is above average. Academics-wise, I chose Norwich because of the strong cybersecurity program. Growing up, I didn't know what cyber was and what it had in store. I was never super computer savvy, but coming here, it gave me an opportunity to grow and challenge myself.
Tell us about the cybersecurity major.
A cyber major basically prepares you for networking, basic coding, things of that sort. Really prepares you to secure networks, kind of the ins and outs of computers. It's very basic, friendly to, our practicum, which is super intensive. And I think the professors just do a really great job teaching you every step of the way. Something I like about the major is it's all very logical. You're either right or you're wrong, but there's multiple ways to be right, I guess. You can code something 7 different ways, but the code has to work at the end of the day. And it just takes you through the step of, A and then B and then C and really enforces it. So I definitely felt a little bit behind the curveball, not being super tech savvy in high school. And one of the ways that I combated it was just, putting the extra time in. Sometimes it takes people 30 minutes in lab. Sometimes it took me both lab sessions. A lot of help hours and just really just putting pen to paper and just studying really hard.
What's the difference between class time and lab time?
Lab times versus class times are always super interesting. Depending on the class, you might have a 30 to 60-minute teaching block out of the 2 hours. Just because there's so much material to get through. Sometimes the 3 days a week in the classroom just doesn't cover it. And then the actual lab time is hands-on. Your coding programs, you have your assignment, and you get to basically just solve the assignment, code, run the code, fix the problems, and rinse and redo. I think as a cyber world, it's our entire world. We can't even call it the cyber world anymore. Our bank apps are digital. Everything we do is digital. You're either in it or you're behind it, It's important to protect people's data and protect people's privacies the same way that we would in person. So that's why I really wanted to do cybersecurity. They do a really good job preparing me to enter the job market because not only is the technical aspect of things really well taught to us and really well presented to us, but they have a really good mix of the corporate business side to it as well. Professor Rowley does a great job. He's our information assurance teacher. So teaching kind of the business side of, okay, policies, data management, things of that sort. They really put the technical aspect and the real applicable part together. So you're not, lacking in one area. Essentially, when you enter the workforce, not everyone is going to have the same technical background. And sometimes you just need to be the translator, and Norwich prepares you really well for both sides of the coin.
What's the facility like?
Facility-wise, Mac Hall is huge. We're getting a brand new cyber feedings under, as well. I'm very excited to see it open and see, how I just love seeing how well developed this program has become with the help of our outside partners as well. We have a great group on campus, Cypher. It's ran by Dr. Reed. They do all of our virtual machines for our labs. As I had mentioned before, it basically is a virtual environment for us to complete our programs on so that we don't have to keep downloading stuff. And it's all student ran too, so that's also another hands-on opportunity for students to practice networking.
How was working at the AI Center?
Working at the AI Center this summer was an amazing experience, a very hands-on coding experience as well, which was perfect for me. It definitely allowed me to better myself at coding. It's ran by Professor Ali in the engineering department. It's essentially a research institution department that allows people to do research with AI. And so over the summer, I was developing a model that analyzes and flags outliers in financial transactions to see if it can flag fraudulent transactions. So the idea kind of started, I do have a business minor, but my partner came up with it. And as our teams kind of evolved, it turned into a bit of a solo project. And we had our senior fellow, Emrina Vivo, who's awesome. She helped a lot with mine. We basically just kind of used the Kaggle website. It's just kind of a website that teaches you, has a bunch of data sets and data points, and you can kind of connect it to a Google like notebook where it's a coding environment as well. And she kind of just helped me be able to create it and run it. I have a business minor, so seeing bank transactions, seeing if maybe we can integrate AI into banking. I know sometimes it's scary because people in their banks are very close, as they should be. But if we can maybe use it to the advantage of protecting people and flagging transactions ahead of time compared to, having to defend against it. I'm a part of the Cyber Leader Development Program on campus. It's a DoD-funded program that a lot of the freshmen should apply for. It lets you get hands-on experience and prepares you for government service jobs in the DoD. So even though I'm a civilian, working in the government is still a goal of mine, and that program definitely makes opportunities more known. So the director and I were talking about internships, and she said that I should talk to Professor Ali about working with him over the summer, and found him on LinkedIn, sent him my resume, interviewed with him, and got the position.
What would you like to do once you graduate?
Once I graduate, I'm hoping to get into government service, government work, just basically helping protect the homeland and helping protect the American citizens' data.
Does the faculty prepare you for post-grad?
I think not only the faculty, but Norwich as a whole prepares you just to be flexible, be able to pivot, to, have a plan, but plan for life to happen. I think that's just something that you get taught over the 4 years you're here. I would say Norwich as a whole just prepares you just for life. Some of the opportunities, some of them may look a little different depending on the major, but wanting to go more into the government service, CLDP, the Cyber Leader Development Program, is a great opportunity. It's now run by Gabby Fletcher, who's an amazing lead so far, and the transition's been super smooth. It also looks like, taking a trip to Boston with the CJ school. This past week or so, I went with Professor Sam and Dr. Gurian, and we visited a lot of agencies and got to talk about emergency, like preparing for an emergency in a large-scale event. I'm a student athlete. I play women's lacrosse, so that takes up some chunk of time. Other than that, it really just like working out, hiking, hanging out with my friends, kind of the normal college student things. If you're somebody who knows that like you do well in a structured environment and you do well and you're an above average, person, an above average student, you'll do really well here. I know that I wasn't going to do well at a big state school, and Norwich happened to be the perfect mix of structure, discipline, and drive. Each student here is driven, whether you're here in the Corps of Cadets or not. And although their drive might look a little different, everyone comes here for a reason. So as much as we respect our core counterparts, everyone's here for a reason.
How do you balance athletics and academics?
Balancing a varsity sport as a student here, to be honest, it's made really simple. You have your schedule, your class schedules ran same as the core kids. every student here is held to the same standard academically in the classroom, regardless of your time commitment outside of this classroom. So my core counterparts, their time commitment is vastly different than mine. And somebody who's not an athlete has a vastly different time commitment than me. And we're all held to the same standard. The work needs to get done when it's due. Knowing that and knowing when to balance that, it's got to get done no matter what. So might as well start early. Every 5 minutes on an assignment is 5 minutes on an assignment. And I think that the athletic department does a really good job setting athletes up. They have study halls for them. Honestly, I find it easier as an athlete knowing, like, balancing being an athlete and being a student. Something I've always done, just what now? You live by outlook, you know? So you know that your assignments are due, but you also know you have 40 other things to do and get around to do. So you really have to create a schedule and you have to stick with it and just get into a flow.
What do you wish you knew as a freshman?
I think something that I wish I would have known as a freshman is that it's going to look different for everybody. Not a single person's on the same path, and it's all going to work out the way it should. It just sometimes, instead of focusing on the big picture, you need to focus on the step in front of you.
What else are you involved in at Norwich?
I'm also on the civilian ring committee, so designing the Norwich ring for the civilians is pretty cool, pretty interesting. It's definitely a bit of process. So
What does Norwich mean to you?
Norwich means a lot. I mean, the people I've met here are my family. I could call any single one of them and just be like, hey, I need you. And they're there. They will drive. They will fly. Even alumni, people who, like, that you're just connected by Norwich is some of the strongest bonds that I've ever had. Norwich has brought me my people as much as it's brought me other opportunities, and the people here are unmatched, for sure.
How is the dynamic with civilian and core students?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic to say the least. My friend group's kind of split half and half, actually, between the core and civilians. My two best friends are civilians, but all of our other friends are in the core. You really don't see a difference in the classroom, outside of the classroom, on campus. Once they're recognized, there's really no difference. The scheduling might be a problem, but, getting chow together and just studying together, doing the simple, mundane things together, you don't see a difference.
Who is Norwich for?
I would say Norwich is for the driven student, the student who wants a challenge. Either that's, socially, academically, sports-wise. Norwich is a challenge for all, but it's not like a bad challenge. It's if you want to become a leader, we're a leadership lab. Any opportunity you want, Norwich will find a way for you to have it. If you can think it, Norwich will find a way for you to do it. Norwich is for people who, maybe know that, oh, I don't know about the military, but I do know that I like a structured environment. It's here. If you want some of your best friends, it's here. So I would say that's who Norwich is for.